Hey, it's me, Rumbrun again. Do you remember last time when I told you a story about Descinda? I really enjoyed making that, and I also played more Skyblock, so I'm going to tell you another story. Here we go. Richard stopped in front of the gates of death. He had journeyed far, learned much, and lost greatly to get here. But he had finally arrived. And on the other side of the gate he could find, well, he wasn't sure what exactly, but he had heard that it could save his wife. He just had to convince the goddess of death to let him in. But he didn't see anyone. There were just some large bushes with black leaves to either side of the gate. No mysterious hooded figure. No large threatening woman with a scythe in hand. Nothing. Tentatively, Richard walked forward. If there was no one here, he might as well just walk through the gate. But when his hand touched the shadowy bars, his fingers became so cold they burned, and he yanked his hand back. Looking at it, he saw that his fingers were black where he had touched the gate, although it was already starting to fade. "You can't touch that gate, silly!" came a voice behind him. Richard whirled around and saw a young girl who looked about 7 jumping out from behind one of the black bushes. But she was unlike any other young girl, any other person he'd ever seen. Her skin was an ashy gray, and her hair was a midnight blue, so deep it was almost black. Her dress was a light lavender, her leggings were deep purple, and she wore a blood-red amulet around her neck. Her entire eyes were the same blood red without any whites. And strangest of all, this young girl had large wings sprouting from her back, which were an even deeper shade of red. "What's the matter?" the girl asked. "Didn't expect to see me?" Richard found his voice. "Why can't I touch that gate?" "Because you're not allowed to," the girl told him like it was obvious. "Where's the goddess of death? If you could speak to her, maybe she would let him in." "You're silly, Richard. I like you." Richard blinked. "How did you know my name?" "I know everything," the girl laughed delightedly. "It's so fun." She bounced up and down a little. "Aren't you gonna ask me my name?" "What's your name?" Richard sighed. "I'm Kara." Richard froze. "Kara?" he stammered. Kara was the name of the goddess of death, forbidden use by mortals. "You're so silly. I just said that." But, you expected me to be older?" Kara asked. "Everyone says that." "Well, I expected you to be older. How about that?" She put her hands on her hips. Richard didn't know how to argue with that. "Can you let me in?" "Why do you want to go in?" Kara asked. "And shouldn't you be bowing to me or something? I am a goddess." Richard hastily bowed, and Kara laughed again. "It looks like you almost fell over." "I'm sorry, goddess," Richard told her, remaining bent over. "I forgot myself." "Oh, stand up," the goddess of death said. "I can't see your face when you're like that." Richard straightened. "Could you let me through the gate, please?" "Anyone can go in the gate," the goddess of death said matter-of-factly. "It's called dying." "Can you let me through the gate without dying?" "You mean you want to go back out again after you go in?" "Yes." Kara made a face. "Well, I can't just let you do that." "Why not?" "If I let you go back out, then everyone will want to go back out. It wouldn't be fair if only you could leave. That would make everybody else sad." "But the woman I asked for advice said that it had been done before." "Oh, her." The goddess of death shivered and hid behind the bush a little. "She scares me." Kara was still the goddess of death, no matter how young she looked. It was a disturbing thought that Richard had met someone that she was afraid of. He pushed the thought away. "So, it's possible for me to get through and come back again." "I let that woman through because she was scary." "So, can you let me through?" Richard asked. "You're not scary, you're funny." She came out from behind the bush. "Why do you want to go through the gate? The people there don't like it very much. You probably wouldn't either." "I thought you said you know everything." "I do. I just want to hear you say it." I I heard that something over there could save my wife." "But I want more visitors," Kara said. "It's lonely out here. When people go through the gate, I get to talk to them. I want to meet Marissa." Richard shivered. It was a little creepy that this little girl knew his wife's name. "But I want to be able to go back home and talk to her." The goddess of death cocked her head. "You didn't come here when Petunia was dying. Did you not want to talk to her more?" Richard's eyes stung with tears. He had been trying to not think about his daughter. Even though she was the goddess of death, Kara really reminded him of Petunia. "How did you know about her?" "I talked to her when she came through a year ago. She was very nice. I liked her. Didn't you like her? You didn't come here and ask me not to bring her through the gate." I didn't know that I could come here, Richard said, almost pleading. Her sickness came too quickly. I didn't have time to look for more options. Well, you should have thought about that before she died, silly. A thought struck Richard. Could you let her leave? Or even just come to the gate so I can see her? It wouldn't be fair to the others if I let her leave. They'd be so sad that they'd have to stay behind. And if I told her that you were here, then everyone else would be sad that no one else had come to visit them. Please? You're so silly. Don't you know that if someone says no, you shouldn't ask again? And you don't want to anger me. I am the goddess of death, after all. She stood a little straighter, but it didn't make her look much more intimidating. Then she turned around. Oh, someone's coming. Richard turned and saw a dark silhouette approaching the two of them. Kara waved to the shadowy figure. It waved back, then walked through the closed gate, its form fizzing a little as it went through the bars. Who was that? Richard asked after the shadowy figure had gone. That was Marissa, your wife, Kara replied brightly. Richard's heart dropped. You mean she's dead? Yeah, she was a little sad that she hadn't been able to talk to you before she went through. You weren't at home. And when she walked by just now, she didn't see you. You're both so silly. Thanks for listening. That's a different kind of story than what I usually write, and I hope you liked it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.